It's almost Christmas time, which is usually my happiest time of the year, but I am feeling crushed. Life really hasn't been kind to me, no matter how much I try to be kind to people. I know some of you will be saying to me, join the bus, homie, but this is getting pathetic. I used to think that most men cheat when they get the chance. Now, I believe women do as well. I didn't mean to generalize. I am just speaking from my experience. What is more aggravating is that she acted like she hated him. But after I installed the hidden camera, the truth came out. As soon as I left the apartment for work, he sneaks into my apartment for a quickie with my girlfriend. He was a former roommate that went to jail and now is back, looking for a place to stay for a few weeks. I always wonder why he hangs out around me and my girlfriend. After I kicked him out of my apartment, shows up at random places that we are in. Who gave him the address of where we are going? I used to feel like he had a GPS tracker on us, like he was following us. I used to wonder who told him that we were in that venue. Now I know. Now it all made sense. One morning, I just got done taking a shower and now dressing up for work. Girlfriend taking a shower, and I heard a notification on my girlfriend's phone, a text message notification. Normally, I wouldn't care, but my girlfriend just got a new phone. The ringtone was unfamiliar to me. Curiosity got the best of me, so I walked up to her phone on the nightstand to take a look at who it was. The text was from Patrick. Patrick was my former roommate that just got out of prison. We have known each other since high school. We grew up in Queens together, became friends in high school. He lived with me before he went to jail for a few months. Then my girlfriend moved in with me. Then Patrick got out, then lived with me and my girlfriend for 2 months. We had a falling out and I kicked him out. He was supposed to stay with us for 2 weeks till he finds his own place or move in with family. But 2 weeks turns to 2 months. Hard enough paying almost 2 grand in a cramped 600 square foot 1-bedroom apartment in New York. No privacy, couldn't freely be intimate with my girlfriend because he was in the living room, just a few feet away from us, sleeping on the couch. My girlfriend and I were planning on signing a new lease and moving into a more expensive apartment in a better neighborhood in January the following month, so she can proudly invite her family and friends to our apartment without feeling embarrassed. Patrick and my girlfriend weren't particularly close. Indeed, she supported me when I kicked him out. They only knew each other recently when I allowed him to move back in with me for a few weeks till he found another place. So I was surprised when I found out he was texting her that morning. I didn't even know they texted each other. On the text notification, it said, "Is Caleb home?" My name is Caleb. I was confused when I saw the text. The name of the sender's ID is Patrick. I didn't think my girlfriend knew any other Patrick other than the Patrick we both knew. And if it's a Patrick that she knows and I don't know, it would be too much of a coincidence for him to be asking about another Caleb that I don't know. So it was obvious that she was texting my former roommate that I kicked out of my apartment 2 weeks ago for overstaying his welcome. I didn't think there was anything going on between my girlfriend and Patrick because she was in support of me kicking him out. But still, I suspected that something was not right. An affair was the last thing that came across my mind. I thought maybe my girlfriend was smoking with him. He couldn't keep a job. He was always failing drug tests. He's one of those type of guys that has potential to do other things, but thinks that he could make it as a rapper one day and never focus on anything else but blowing his money on studio time. When he gets fired from any fast food chain or warehouse job that hires him, he goes back to the street to become a street pharmacist. He wasn't good at that either because he always gets caught and ends up in jail for a short period. He comes out and the vicious circle starts all over again. Allow me to set the stage. I grew up in a predominantly black area in Queens. My parents are still married. They struggled with money throughout my childhood, but I can't remember going to bed hungry. I grew up around diverse people and culture, and for that, I am grateful. Growing up, my circle of friends were mostly black. I didn't think I would end up with a white girl because all my previous girlfriends were black. I met my girlfriend when I was delivering packages almost 1.5 years ago. We exchanged a few witty comments. I asked her out on a date as a joke, thinking she would shut me down because I was a delivery driver. She accepted. We went on a date, and that was how it started. She's a beautiful 26-year-old young professional, thick in all the right places, and lived with her roommate at the time we met in an affluent area. I am a simple guy. I don't need much, just enough money to pay my rent and a beautiful girlfriend that won't bang the milkman when I am out working my butt off. Well, I thought I had that with my current girlfriend. I enjoyed being around her. I felt like I can trust her. After 7 months of dating her, I felt like I could finally settle down because she's the one. I could now stop spending my hard-earned money going on dates, bars, or clubs. At the time, I had a roommate, Patrick, but my name was the only name on the lease. Patrick's name couldn't be on the lease because he had bad credit and no rental history. My lease would be up in 8 months, and my girlfriend's lease with her roommate would be up in 4 months. We decided to take our relationship to the next level and plan on moving in together. After her lease is up in 4 months, she wanted to live in a better neighborhood, similar to her current place, either around East Village or Lower East Side. She didn't like the area of town I was living in, around the Washington Heights area. Her job was around the East Village, and she wanted to live close to her job, which works well for me because that would be closer to my job as well. And as a delivery driver, I didn't really care where I live, to an extent. The apartment she wanted us to live in would cost $1,500 more than where I was sharing with my friend, Patrick. The place she's hoping to relocate rents for around $3,500 for a one-bedroom apartment. She planned on moving in with me and my roommate temporarily after her lease with her roommate expires. When my lease expires, we can move into her desired apartment location in the East Village or Lower East Side neighborhood. My roommate at the time was one of my childhood friends. His name is Patrick. He's a struggling musician, hardworking guy, and a street hustler as well. But the problem with him was that he was working hard on the wrong dream. He wanted to be a musician since he was 16, but haven't caught a break. He spends all his money on studio time to produce music that nobody listens to, and buying and selling drugs, so he never took any of his side jobs seriously and would fail random drug tests and lose his job. So he was constantly late on rent, and I regretted allowing him to move in with me. To make money after he gets fired, he would turn into a street pharmacist until he gets busted by the cops and spends a couple of months in jail. That was basically the story of Patrick's life since he was 16. I was so stupid to let him close to me. Just as predicted, 4 months before my lease expired, he got caught and thrown in jail. Since I was the only one on the lease, I couldn't do anything but pay the full rent by myself. I did him a favor by letting him stay with me, and he has been in and out of jail since I knew him. I was hoping he would grow up and maybe get a job like mine, but he was always adamant that he would make it one day. Long story short, my girlfriend moved in with me after her lease expired, and we started living like a couple. 1 month later, Patrick got an early release from prison. His things were no longer at my place. He didn't have a place to go and called me to see if I would let him stay for 2 weeks so he could get himself together and move in with a relative. I told him that 1 bedroom was too small for me and my girlfriend, and having him there would be too cramped. He pleaded with me that he only needed to stay for 2 weeks and that he had a relative that he would move in with after that, but he needed to arrange some things. I told him that I would speak to my girlfriend about it. That night, I spoke to my girlfriend, and she reluctantly agreed. Before that, she never met Patrick and knew nothing about him, except for what I told her. He moved in the same day. Before he moved in, I warned him that my girlfriend only agreed because I promised her that he was only staying for 2 weeks. He agreed that he would be gone in 2 weeks, and we would barely notice that he was here. A week later, he was the perfect couch surfer. He would go out of his way not to be in our space and only come back to the apartment when we were getting ready to go to bed. We barely saw him, but we knew he was there, and he did a good job at keeping his things out of the way. So it didn't come as a surprise that we didn't even notice when the 2 weeks came and went. During the 3rd and 4th week, sometimes I would come back late from work and he would be watching TV with my girlfriend. Nothing seemed suspicious, but I always found it strange that he knew when I would be late and would come home early. At the time, I thought he got along well with my girlfriend. However, they didn't speak much when I was around. We still felt like our living space was too cramped and the apartment was always claustrophobic, despite our attempt to keep it as clean as uncluttered as possible. There were just too many people in a tiny space. On the 5th week, it bothered me that he has been living with us and he promised to be there for only 2 weeks. I felt bad for my girlfriend because I promised that he would be gone in 2 weeks. One evening, while we laid in bed, I brought the issue up to her to apologize on Patrick's behalf and to clear up the tension in the air. Although Patrick didn't seem to be causing trouble for either me or her, just for the tight space and the fact that my girlfriend seemed to be avoiding intimacy with me a week after he moved in. And it's been 4 weeks since we haven't been intimate. I brought up the issue by telling my girlfriend that I was going to tell my friend that he has been here for more than a month and he promised me to stay for only 2 weeks. I thought she would support me or say something to that effect, but she simply turned to the other side of the bed and went to sleep, like I was bothering her. Looking back, I remember that we were intimate on the first 3 days after Patrick moved in, and then she started refusing intimacy with me on the 4th day. My girlfriend is a screamer, so I thought she was embarrassed that she had been loud for the past 3 days that Patrick was there, knowing that we have a guest in the living room. Moreover, what struck me as odd at the time was that the first 3 days that he moved in, we were intimate on those days, and she was absurdly louder than usual on those 3 days. She was being so loud that the next door neighbor could hear her. I felt like she was doing it intentionally, but for some reason, I liked it because it boosted my ego. Strangely, on the 4th day, going forward, she refused intimacy with me and would say something to the effect of, Patrick was in the living room. I responded that he was in the living room the other 3 days. I thought it was strange because she didn't have such discretion for the previous 3 days, even though Patrick was in the living room at the time. Once again, I didn't think anything of it. On the 6th week, I told Patrick that he had overstayed his welcome. I was frustrated that my girlfriend kept refusing intimacy with me on the account that he was still there. I saw this as a form of punishment. It's getting to almost 2 months, and she has been using the quote-unquote, we have a guest in our apartment excuse. I reminded Patrick that he promised to move out a month ago. He tried to blame it on one issue or another and persuaded me to give him 1 more week. I also recalled that during those times that he was living with us, there would be instances where he would show up at odd times and my girlfriend would make excuse to go missing for a while or would be acting strange. One time I was coming back from work early at 3:30 p.m. because I wasn't feeling well. I didn't know that my girlfriend was home because she normally gets home at 5:30 p.m. When I was turning the key knob to open my apartment front door, I noticed some commotion inside the apartment, fearing that somebody has broken in because Patrick and my girlfriend normally won't be home at that time. I rushed in. When I walked in, the TV was on and Patrick was pretending like he was watching TV. I can clearly see that he was acting awkward. The shower was on and I went to the bedroom and my girlfriend was taking a shower. It seemed very strange to me and I suspected that they were having excess, but I had no proof other than they were both at the apartment at odd times. Moreover, I thought my girlfriend wasn't that type of girl. I confronted my girlfriend about her being home early, and she said that she took a half day from work and really didn't give me a good reason why. I wasn't feeling well that day, so I didn't dive in much deeper than I should. I have my suspicions that there was something going on between them. The following day, my girlfriend brought up the personal conversation I had with Patrick about him moving out. Apparently, Patrick told her to intercede on his behalf, and she was being a mouthpiece for him. She said that I should give him 1 more week or more, instead of trying to rush him out. Since we are moving out of the apartment in January, and we are already in November, I thought that was a ridiculous excuse for him to continue to live with us. He promised me 2 weeks, and he should keep his word. I have gone long enough without X, and now she's standing up for him. I was really aggravated, and we had a small argument about it. But later she agreed that I was right. I felt like I was alone on this, and if I allowed him, he would try to leech on us forever, couch surfing, and avoid paying rent. At some point, I wish he would go back to jail, because it doesn't take him long to get into trouble, and going to jail is what he does best. That was the month of November. The same week, we went looking for an engagement ring together. We planned it weeks ago. I thought that if she was involved in the process of ring selection, it guarantees she will love the ring, and she will be wearing it for the rest of her life. Well, that was the idea. We talked about getting married before she moved in with me and had planned it weeks ahead. Our plan was to sign the lease to our new apartment in December, move in January, and I planned on proposing to her on Valentine's Day. She was a sucker for romance. The night after we went for engagement ring shopping, we had X for the first time in 7 weeks. I took it as a reward for taking her ring shopping and to encourage me to buy her the ring she selected. That reminded me even more of what I've been missing since she started withholding intimacy because we had a guest in the living room. The following week, I borrowed $4,500 from my 401k to buy the engagement ring she selected. Then I hid the ring where she wouldn't find it so I could surprise her on Valentine. The following day, it surprised me when my girlfriend reminded me that it would be almost 2 months that Patrick had been living with us. The same evening, I confronted Patrick and told him that he had one day to move out or I would throw his things out. He said that he had nowhere else to go, and I got angry at him and started telling him that it was not my problem. My girlfriend was in the bedroom at the time, and she came out because we were becoming loud. I told Patrick to stop leeching on me and get his own place or live with his family. I know most of his family members don't want him around because they knew how irresponsible he was. None of his black friends in our social circle would let him stay with them. He got angry with me and we almost got into a physical altercation. I told him that if he doesn't leave my apartment that night, I will call the police and he can find a place in jail. I told him how ungrateful he was and that I would never do him any favors again. He left that night and came back the following morning to pick up his things. By the end of November, he was gone for good. I heard that he was staying at a trap house about 2 miles away from me, which is not a surprise because none of the people he knows wants him around. What was strange to me was that he could move back to Queens because it would have been best for him to live with some of his relatives rather than living in a trap house that would land him back to jail. I guess I don't know what goes on in the head of an idiot. I was wondering why he was sticking around this neighborhood since he couldn't get a job here, and the studio where he records his failing music career is too expensive here, and he knows more people in Queens. Well, now I know the reason why he was sticking around my neighborhood. During the first week of December, I saw him sneaking out of a bar that I was in with my girlfriend. I thought it was strange that he was there. It happened a couple of times in different venues, but come to find out, my girlfriend had been texting him. I thought he had a GPS on me and my girlfriend because he would show up at various locations we were in, trying to hide so I wouldn't see him. I made a joke about it once to my girlfriend, and she told me that he was acting creepy. Now I know she had been sending him the address of the locations of where we were so she could sneak out and bang him in my car while I'm still inside the establishment waiting for her. My girlfriend is from upstate New York, so we went to her parents for the second time since we started dating. The first time wasn't too pleasant because her dad didn't like me. According to my girlfriend, he would have preferred that she married someone that is college educated and not a delivery driver. That wasn't how she said it, but that was what he meant. In essence, that was basically the impression I got. Her dad was a snotty, angry-looking community college professor that thought that he was better than me. He thinks that he is Einstein. He would always lecture me and ask me questions like I am under investigation. I hated the man. He thinks that his daughter could do better. His precious, innocent daughter. My girlfriend had 2 older male siblings, but I have not met them, but I have seen photos of them. My girlfriend tried to do her best for her dad to accept me, but it's just one of those situations where I knew that we wouldn't get along. My girlfriend wanted us to visit them before Christmas, so they would be familiar with me when we come back to celebrate the holidays. I tried to be polite as much as possible to her parents, but they were unbearable. They wanted to visit my girlfriend to see where she stays, but my girlfriend wanted them to visit when we had moved to a nicer apartment in East Village or Lower East Side. She said that they would be disappointed if they saw the neighborhood and apartment we're currently living in. We were supposed to sign the lease to the new apartment in 2 weeks, which is a few days before Christmas. The following week was when I saw the notification from Patrick on my girlfriend's new phone. I took pictures of the message because at that time, I wasn't sure if there was something going on between them. I was more confused than anything. I didn't see my girlfriend as a cheater. However, I felt like taking a picture of the text as evidence before she got out of the shower. On my way to work, I was thinking about the relationship between my girlfriend and Patrick, wondering why he would be texting her, asking her when I was leaving, wondering if there was something going on between them. I remembered about how she moaned loudly during X on the first 3 days when Patrick was staying in my apartment. I thought about how she dresses when she knew Patrick was around. I thought about how she denied me intimacy when Patrick was around. I thought about the times I came home early and catch both of them in the house with no good explanation. I thought about how he shows up at random places and how she goes missing for a few minutes, and it all came together before the end of the shift at work. I was certain that they were having an affair. I felt like garbage the entire day. I felt angry and confused. I hope that I was wrong because I have planned my life around this woman. Thank you for staying to the end of this video. Please click on the right hand thumbnail for the part 2 of this video, or go to the description below for the link to part 2. If you haven't liked or subscribed, please make sure you subscribe and like the video.